بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Dear students, today inshallah we're talking about the different elements of a short story, and we have like a summary of the short story for the first year. If you remember at the very beginning of the semester, we talked about the different elements of a short story. So we talked about the theme, the plot, the characters, the setting, and other elements. And just to remind you, we talked about what the theme is, and we said that the theme is the main idea of the short story. It is what the short story is about. Like, for example, if I ask you what is the theme of a movie or the theme of a play or the theme of a short story, you can say the theme is the theme of love, the theme of revenge, the theme of honor. So usually the theme is composed of one, two, or three words. So it's not a complete sentence, but then, of course, if I ask you about what the theme of a short story is, you have to tell me what the theme is first, and then you have to elaborate, giving examples. So again, a theme or the theme of the short story is the main idea of a short story. Then we talked about the plot, and we said that the plot is the chain of actions or events. Like we have in a short story, usually we have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So these three parts compose what we know, what we refer to as the plot. And a short story or a literary work should be connected together. And such, a link is created by the chain of events or what we call the plot. يبقى ما نطلق عليه الحبكة الدرامية. And then we talked about the setting, and we said that the setting is the time and the place where the short story events take place. يعني هي المكان والزمان اللي بتدور فيه أحداث الشورت ستوري أو العمل الأدبي اللي احنا بنتكلم عليه أو احنا بصدده. We also talked about the characters, and we said that each character has at least 3 dimensions. هيكون واحد فيهم physical dimension و social dimension و psychological dimension. And we talked about and we explained the differences among the 3 dimensions and how they can affect the how they can affect the actions of the characters and the way to look at life. Okay. Then we talked about the conflict, and the conflict is very important because it is the element that creates some sort of suspense in the short story. I said that we can have different kinds of conflicts, and the conflict can even be divided according to the rivals in the conflict. Like the conflict can be between man and God, like in the Greek drama, or it can be between a man and another man. It can be between the man and the society, or it can be between a man and himself, for example. Today we're talking mainly about the plot and the different the structure of the plot according to Freytag's pyramids. ده شكل معروف through which we can actually explain how the actions in the short story go. Like here, أي short story عادة أو أي عمل أدبي starts with what we call exposition. And exposition معناها مرحلة العرض. This is the stage in which the characters, the setting, and the relations among them or among the characters and between the characters and the setting are introduced. يبقى دي المرحلة اللي احنا بنعرف فيها الشخصيات، بنعرف فيها المكان والزمان وعلاقة الشخصيات ببعض. Okay? يعني even when we are telling a better story, يعني احنا usually say once upon a time there was a little princess who fell in love with a poor man. يبقى احنا في الجملتين دول عرفنا ان في غابر الازمنه او في ماضي الزمن ان كان في princess و she was in love with a poor man. فدي بيسموها الاكسبوزيشن. Again, this is the stage in which all the characters, our most important characters, are introduced, as well as the relations among them, والعلاقات اللي بينهم، بالإضافة طبعا للplace والtime يعني in which the actions take place. طيب حتى الآن this is normal because أي مكان أي زمان يكون في مجموعة أشخاص مجموعة علاقات، لكن ده doesn't create drama. عشان يكون في دراما يكون في أحداث لازم يحصل حاجة. it's like a stagnant lake. يعني تخيل في بحيرة راكدة وموجودة كل حاجة بس it needs يعني just one stone. يعني just إن أنت يعني ترمي فيها حجر كده عشان تبتدي تتحرك. طيب الحجر ده اللي احنا بنشير إليه في الشورت ستوري بنقول عليه الانيشال انسيدنت، الحدث الأول. It is actually the incident that pushes the actions or the events forward. And actually it creates some sort of يعني let's say movement, or it starts like a move in the actions of the short story. الactions ديت بتتصاعد بنطلق عليها rising actions. يعني let's say once upon a time there was a nice man who fell in love with his colleague, and then after graduation they got married. حتى الآن مفيش دراما، واحد اتجوز واحدة بعد ما اتخرج خلاص. They lived in happiness, okay, and after 2 years they got a baby boy, okay, والدنيا ماشية تمام. الأحداث اللي أنا قلتها دلوقتي doesn't create drama. ليه؟ لأن هو مفيش أي نوع من أنواع الإيه الكونفليكت حتى الآن. طيب إيه بقى يخلق الكونفليكت؟ يحصل حدث إن هو one day while the lady was ironing the man's clothes, she found a piece of paper and then she discovered that he was married. زي ما بنقول بقى في الايه في الموسيقى. في الحالة دي حصل ايه؟ حصل ان هو في اكشن هيؤدي الى الايه؟ الى اضطراب في العلاقات. يعني this incident will cause some sort of like a confusion or a chaos within the relations among the characters. فبالتالي هنا بقى هتصاعد بقى ايه؟ يبقى في rising actions. لما عرفت ده اللي يحصل تاني she decided to follow him, to spy on him. قررت بقى ان هي ايه؟ تمشي وراه تشوف بيروح فين الراجل ده. Okay? And then one day she was أو she saw him with a different lady and 2 other kids. فاكتشفت ان هو he was married even before he got married to her, and وكمان he got children. فده rising action. Okay. بعد كده let's say مثلا at night she saw him with another lady with 2 other kids. اكتشفت انه كان متجوز واحده ثانيه. ده مش هيخلص الراجل ده، لو مشينا لحد اخر اسبوع ولا حاجه ممكن يكون وصل يتجوز 3 تانيين. يبقى اذا ده تصاعد الايه الاحداث لحد ما نوصل بقى لايه للكلايمكس. what to call in Arabic ذروه الاحداث. in English the climax can be defined as the moment in which the major characters should make very critical decisions. دي اللحظة اللي الأشخاص أو الشخوص الموجودين عندنا في الشوت السوري أو الرواية أو أيا كان عمل أدبي should make very critical decisions. يتخذوا قرارات مصيرية بالنسبة لهم. In our case هنا الليدي اللي يعني she found out that her husband يعني was married to other ladies بعد سلسلة من الأحداث، وصلت لمرحلة إن she has to make a decision. فمثلا she might face him, okay, ويحصل بقى إيه يعني argument وfight والناس كلها تسمع وتبقى إيه يعني scandal في المنطقة. okay. وبعدها she would ask for divorce. okay. وبعدها تاخد العيال أو الواد ابنها وإيه وتروح على بيت باباه وخلصت الإيه الحدوت على كده. تمام. ممكن يحصل حاجة تانية إن هي يعني they might start fighting. فبالتالي they might get violent and she might even kill him. okay. سواء بقى on purpose أو unintentionally، يعني بتحصل أحيانا. أوكي. فبالتالي إيه اللي هيحصل؟ خلاص بعد ما الكلايمكس بقى حصل بنوصل لمرحلة اسمها الإيه؟ الريزولوشن، اللي هي it is the، أو بنسميها برضه، أو يعني مقاربة لكلمة إيه؟ دينوم، دينومون، كلمة فرنساوي. Okay. Denouement. This is the stage in which the actions come to an end. يعني دي بقى مرحلة الايه النهاية بقى. الدينومون هي المرحلة اللي بتحصل فيها الايه النهاية او بتختلف الأحداث. الريزولوشن معناها ان التنشن او الكونفليكت او السسبنس اللي كان موجود خلاص انتهى. خلاص هي اتطلقت ومشيت، او قتلته واتسجنت، او هو قتلها واتسجن، او وات ايفر بقى اي نهايه تنتهي. فبنحصل يبقى اذا اي any short story او اي يعني مش اي طبعا، هو most of، لانه في طبعا اعمال اخرى بتاخد منحنى مختلف، بتاخد شكل مختلف، بتاخد تحليل مختلف، ولكن this is the common one. We start with the exposition, which is the stage in which the characters, the setting, and the relations among the characters, and on one hand, and between the characters and the setting on the other. بعد كده rising actions. These are the actions that actually يعني set a move for the line of the short story to go up لحد ما نوصل للايه؟ للكلايمكس، which is الذروة. Again, it is the stage at which the characters should make very important or critical decisions. بعد كده falling actions will lead us against the rising actions بقى. will lead us to the resolution أو نهاية الإيه؟ الشورت ستوري أو الدينومو. Okay. These are the parts of a short story, and this year we have the short story The Little Girl. Okay, and I have sent you all the materials you need in the form of a PDF, and other classes or lessons were sent in the form of a PowerPoint lesson and some other videos. يعني I hope that you have read the short story. طيب, now let's start with the summary of the short story. The Little Girl. Okay. Well, The Little Girl is a short story that is written by Catherine Mansfield, and it is about the relationship between a little girl and her father. Okay. And the theme of the short story is about appearance and reality. So sometimes you might have some, let's say, impressions about someone, and then later on you discover that those impressions were not right, and discover that the person is totally different from what we have thought. Like sometimes you might think this guy is bad, and after a while you discover that he's such a very nice person, or the opposite. So appearance is something that is apparent to us, but reality is something that is deep, that we need a lot of thought, a lot of contemplation, a lot of thinking in order to discover what it is. Kizia was a little girl who lived with her parents and grandmother. Okay, now we know the major characters: the little girl, her parents, and her grandma. These are the major characters. دي مرحلة الإيه؟ الexposition. She didn't like her father. Now we get something new about the relation between the characters. That the little girl doesn't like her father. She is afraid of him because of his overbearing attitude. So long father remained at his office, she was relieved. يبقى الكام جملة اللي فاتوا عرفونا major characters, the relations among them. So we have a little girl who has a problem with her father, because her father is somehow cruel. He's a harsh person. He's not kind-hearted. Okay, and this is why the only time in which she feels relieved is when her father is far away from home, when he goes to work. But the moment he came home, she would start feeling uncomfortable, which is normal. You know, as I said, when he is home, she is terrified. And when he is out, she is happy and relaxed. She never stuttered with other people, but failed to speak properly in front of him. Stutter معناها to find difficulty speaking or to speak difficultly. And this is, you know, one issue about the little girl, that when she is before her father, when her father is home, she usually stutters. She cannot speak, you know, properly in front of him because she's afraid of him. She believes that her father is like a giant who should be avoided. And you know, little children uh, get usually get afraid of giants or big things. So she never stutters with other people, but she stutters with her father. Okay, he appeared to her as harsh, rude, and critical, and he was like a giant for Kitsia. Mother would encourage her to go near father in the drawing room when he came home from the office and take off his shoes like a good girl. Kidzia would turn so nervous, but there was no way out. And when her father came home, her mother would ask her to go to her father's room and to help him take off his boots. The little girl, of course, would get very nervous, and she's afraid of her father, and this is why she would try to avoid this, but there was no other option. So she would go, and when she would take off his shoes, he would ask if she had been a good girl that day. وده this is normal لما البيرنتس أو أحد البيرنتس بيرجع البيت. The first question he might ask is okay يسأل الأطفال يعني have you been good today؟ طبعا when Kizia is asked the question, she turns terrified and she begins to stutter. Kizia's mother wanted her to understand her parents, grandmother wanted her to understand her parents better and would ask her to go to the drawing room to chat with them. إن هو sometimes the little girl would just remain silent. So the grandma would try, usually she tries to send her to their room in order to have some chat with them. One day, grandmother, but the little girl always found mother reading and father stretched out on the sofa. And when she finds her father on the sofa, she doesn't talk. She just keeps looking at him, okay? One day, grandmother told Kizia that father's birthday was next week and suggested her to make a pincushion for a gift. A pincushion is a small bag in which we keep pins, okay, and needles. عبارة عن شنطة صغيرة كده بتبقى usually stuffed محشية ونحط فيها الدبابيس عشان ما تقعش في أي مكان. اوكي يبقى هنا بقى كل اللي فات ده كان الباك جراوند انفورميشن عن الكاركترز عن السيتنج عن the relations among you know the major characters. نيجي بقى ال initial incident بقى that will lead us to the rising actions اللي هو the father's birthday. And her grandmother told her that actually this is your father's birthday فيلا ايه حضري له حاجة. Okay? So, and Kizia, her grandma suggested that Kizia will make like a pincushion for a gift. طيب, Kizia now starts to look for something to do or to make the pincushion with. So, Kizia stitched the three sides of a pincushion. يعني she got some cloth and she stitched يعني خيطت the three sides. But in order to make a bag, she needs something to stuff the bag with. هي محتاجة حاجة تحشي بيها الباج. Now she wanted to stuff it with something. She looked out for it here and there in the house. Suddenly, in her mother's bedroom, she found many sheets of fine paper lying on the bed table. يبقى she looked for يعني something to stuff the bag with, and she found some papers at her father's bedroom. عملت إيه طبعا كيدزي أول ما لقت الورق؟ She gathered them up, tore them into tiny pieces. She shredded the papers and stuffed her case. Then sewed up the fourth side. وخيطت الباج وكمل. So Kizia had unknowingly committed a grave mistake. هنا بقى إيه؟ She made a big mistake. Those were important papers and they contained her father's speech for the port authority. So يبقى she tore the papers that actually include her father or contained her father's speech. Her father was about to give a speech, a formal one, and actually she cut into pieces all the papers. تمام؟ طبعا when her father got back he was طبعا يعني shocked. So there was a hue and cry, there was a lot of noise in the house that night. Though Kizia accepted, طبعا her father found out that Kizia was the one who shredded the papers, and this is why he decided to punish her. Though Kizia accepted her mistake and tried to explain the reasons behind it, because she was trying to tell her father it was for his birthday. Her father was too angry to listen to anything. He picked up a ruler and hit her hands with it. So جاب بقى المسطرة وضربها على ايديها on the palms of her hands. Kizia found Mr. McDonald a different sort of father. يعني طبعا Kizia was so upset. And the idea she has about her father, was deeply rooted in her mind and her feelings. Like in one day, she was in the garden, and through a hole in the fence, she looked at their neighbor's garden. She found Mr. McDonald, the neighbor. She found him playing, with his kids. طبعا, for her, that was a very surprising thing because she never played with her father. Mr. McDonald lived next door and used to play with his 5 children, laughing and enjoying with them. And this convinced Kezia that all fathers are not alike. Now she discovered that there are different sorts or kinds of fathers. Some are loving like Mr. McDonald and some are cruel like her own father. This is actually the apparent, image of her father, that he is a huge, a giant, a huge person, and he's not loving at all. He is very harsh and cruel. He's not kind-hearted like Mr. McDonald. حتى الآن الكلايمكس بقى هنا إن هي خلاص she got that fixed image about her father. لكن هيحصل بقى أحداث ثانية هتؤدي لاختلاف ده. One day, Kezia's mother fell ill, and her mother and grandmother went to hospital. The little girl was left alone in the house with Alice. Alice was the housekeeper, and Kezia was all right in the daytime. But when night fell, she grew suddenly afraid. What would she do if she had a nightmare? إذن the little girl, as a result طبعا of the feelings, or the fears she has when she deals with her father, now she has a nightmare. And in the nightmare, she can see someone who is getting close to her, okay? Okay, يبقى again, the little girl is so frightened, and this is why she had now she has a nightmare. Okay, طيب, as I said, her mother was so sick, and this is why she had to go to the city, and she was left alone, with her father and the housekeeper. Okay. Now, at night, she had a nightmare. She often had nightmares, and then Alice took her into her bed. But she was not there that night. Alice tried to console her by putting her to bed. While sleeping, she had a horrible dream in the middle of the night. She woke up screaming When she opened her eyes, she saw her father standing beside her bed. He took Kidzia with him into his room and made her warm on his bed. He made her feel safe and comfortable with him. Now we have the reality of the father. The little girl discovered that her father is not as cruel as she has always thought him to be, but on the contrary, he is so kind-hearted. Okay? Kidzia then realized that her father was not a cruel person. She felt sorry for comparing him with a giant, and she realized that he loved her and cared for her in his own way. She was proud to find her father as a big-hearted man. يبقى now we have بقى what to call the reverse. بقى حصل انقلاب في الايه في رؤية البنت الصغيرة. يبقى at the very beginning she thought that her father was a figure to be avoided, but at the end of the day, at the end of the story, she discovered that her father was such a nice and good man. At the very beginning, she thought that he was a big guy, but at the end, she discovered that he has a big heart. And actually, she realized that she was wrong when she compared her father to Mr. McDonald's. And her father is not as free as Mr. McDonald's. He had to work hard, and she committed a mistake because she cut or she shredded his papers. Okay? طيب نيجي بقى على ال questions. What does the title imply? احنا عندنا التايتل بتاع short story The Little Girl. طيب التايتل ده what does it imply? What comes to your mind? What crosses your mind when you just read the title? يبقى it implies innocence, helplessness, purity, inexperience. So يبقى because we have a little girl, she doesn't know much about life, and she can judge things superficially. She doesn't have that deep look at things. When does the little girl feel relieved? As we said, she feels relieved when her father goes out to work. طبعا احنا بس بنجاوب الأسئلة باختصار شديد لأن هو يعني في الامتحان غالبا مش هتكون الأسئلة في صورة questions ولكن هتكون في صورة multiple choices. وإن كانت هقول لكم طبعا في الكام محاضرة الجايين إن احنا يعني up till now ما نعرفش أو لسه ما استقرناش الشكل الامتحان هيكون إزاي وفقا للظروف اللي احنا فيها. Okay? يبقى the little girl feels relieved when her father is not at home, when he goes to work. What does the little girl feel about her father? What does she think about him? Okay? She's afraid of him and tries to avoid him. All the time, she believes that her father is a huge person, a giant, that she should, avoid. Why does the little girl stutter? No, because she's trying to say the words correctly. She was afraid of making mistakes before her father. Like sometimes when you feel like you are watched لما يكون حد مراقبك أو بص عليك في الوقت ومركز معاك قوي يعني you want to be very concentrated فبالتالي ممكن تعمل أخطاء ممكن تبقى يعني confused مش عارف تعمل Okay, what did the little girl do in the church? During طبعا احنا ده ملخص short story لكن within the short story we have different situations. One of the situations is when the family goes to the church. When the family, every Sunday, the family members go to the church to say their prayer. In the church, she doesn't even focus with the priest or the prayer. She focuses on her father. And all the time she focuses on her father. The way he prays, the way he, says his prayer. Okay, so she sat beside her father looking at him while he was praying. The other question, what did the little girl, what did the little girl make for her father's birthday? She made him a pincushion, and then she was punished because of that because she used his own papers to stuff the pincushion with. Okay, why did the father hit the little girl? As we said, the father hit the girl because she tore up his papers out the paper of his speech. And how does Kidia know there were different kinds of father? Of course, she discovered that there were different kinds of fathers when she saw Mr. McDonald's play with his kids, and she couldn't believe her eyes. And then what did the nightmare the little girl had? The nightmare the little girl had was about a butcher with a knife and a robe in his hands. And the butcher wanted to kill her. What did the father do when she was crying? He carried her to his room and calmed her down. And what did the little girl discover? So at the end of the day, she discovered that her father has a big heart and he's so kind-hearted. And what is the theme of the short story? As I said, it is the theme of appearance versus reality. And the little girl used to fear her father due to his rough appearance. And then she discovered that later on that he was so kind and he had a big heart. في بعض الفوكاب المهمة لازم تعرفها, like for example, relief means comfort, buggy is a kind of courage, lean means bend down, يميل, spectacles, glasses, stutter, to speak difficultly, wretched, miserable, on the brink of, on the edge of, معناها على حافة شيء, لأنه هو usually when Kidzia, talks to her father, she seems to be on the brink of suicide. الكلمة اللي بعدها اللي هي يعني killing herself. Couch معناها سوفة. Stare, if you stare at somebody, you gaze, you look hard. A pincushion is a bag in which we keep needles and pins. Hue and cry, loud noise. Ransack, كلمة ransack معناها search. Like, the police ransacked the whole building but they didn't find anything. يعني معناها يفتش أو يمشط. Fetch, bring. Sort, kind. Nightmare, bad dream. Whisper, speak in a low voice. Dreadful means terrible, horrible. Shiver, if you shiver, it means to tremble or shake. Stir, like if you stir the food, it means, move. Wrap, to wrap somebody means to cover. Sob, if you're sobbing, you are crying, making a certain noise or some noise. Okay, so this is what we have for today. So now we're done with the short story. I have sent you the short story, the summary and the questions and all other issues about the short story. So you need to study this, and inshallah in the following lectures we'll have some practice and I'll tell you about the form of the exam. Have a nice day and please stay safe, stay home. So,